In the event that Apple called scary fast, it wasn't really that fast, and we didn't see a significant improvement in performance. But something very good happened. It was the regularization of the MacBook Pro series. It means that now MacBook Pros are completely the same and only have different hardware. Of course, this has increased the price of the base model. However, according to the specs, the MacBook Pro with the M3 chip seems to be worth. But this is M3 MacBook Pro review, so let's the video. The design is the familiar design of the MacBook Pros of the last 2 years. Of course, I mean the high-end MacBook Pros. It's the same flat, matte, high-quality, full aluminum, minimal design of Apple with large, sensitive touchpad and high-quality keyboard. The hinge is super smooth and is very light for the performance it provides. Now the space black color has been added to it, which is not too dark and absorbs fingerprints like its silver color. But overall, it is an attractive color. Also, unlike the frame of the iPhone 15 Pro, its color is not a separate layer, but the result of a chemical reaction. And if it gets scratched, it doesn't get an ugly shiny state. In the display part, the big notch that only has a webcam is still there. Of course, apart from that, it has very few edges. The screen is now 14 inches instead of 13 inches, which is better. It is the same as the other models, and 13 inches is not an interesting choice for a Pro laptop today. But the 16-inch model is still only for the M3 Pro and Max. The display of this laptop is fantastic, especially when the range is not super premium. Perhaps the best laptop display you can find in any range. Super Retina XDR mini LED display with a density of 252 ppi and dynamic refresh rate of 120 Hz. The display is sharp, it fully supports DCI-P3 color space, and according to Apple's calibration, the colors are extremely accurate. Also, the brightness reaches 600 nits in normal mode, and you don't have any problem viewing content in semi-open spaces. But in a still content, it can reach 1000 nits, and in XDR content, it can reach 1600 nits. Which is fantastic. But when was the last time you saw XDR content? Of course, it is good to be. The MacBook Pro audio system includes 6 surround sounding speakers with force cancelling woofers. It can be said that it is great. Great bass, high resolution, and loud sound. Of course, the sound quality decreases a little at high volume. The webcam is Full HD, and although it is not ideal, it shows your face correctly and with good details. And don't make you look like I don't know. We will talk about the performance later, but in this generation, Apple has tried to optimize the previous performance with 3nm TSMC lithography. According to Apple, its battery performance has improved and it can play video continuously for up to 22 hours. If we don't consider the size of this number, the battery performance is really great and can last up to 1 full day in semi-heavy usage, without any adapter. Its charging speed reaches 70 watts with MagSafe and 96 watts with Thunderbolt, and it takes about 2 hours to fully charge. Although the charging speed of MagSafe is slower, I suggest you to charge MacBook Pro with MagSafe port, because it is more convenient, safer, and you will have less problems with the port. So, what ports does it have? MacBook Pro with M3 chip has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, an HDMI 2.0 port, a MagSafe port, and an SD card slot. Its ports are not incomplete, but if you connect external memory to it, 2 Thunderbolt ports are not enough. Unlike higher models, M3 does not support many displays. But by supporting a 4K 120Hz or 6K 60Hz display, it completely satisfies a semi-professional user. Hardware is where not much progress can be seen. M3 chip with 8 CPU cores, which includes 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, 10 GPU cores, and 16 neural engine cores that are used for AI, AR, encode, decode, and similar processes. It also has 8, 16, or 24 GB of LPDDR5 RAM. We will talk more about 8 GB of RAM later. RAM speed reaches 100 GB per second, which is 25 times more than other competitors. But don't be surprised at all, because CPU and GPU do not have separate RAM in ARM architecture, and this speed is necessary. For example, the memory bandwidth of RTX 4060 reaches 554 gigabits per second. However, overall speed is very good. Well, let's see the benchmark. In Geekbench 6, M3 single-core performance is 16% faster and multi-core performance is 17% faster than before. In Cinebench R23, which also focuses on stability, the single-core is 14%, but the multi-core is 19% better than the previous generation. In terms of GPU, M3 is 21% faster than M2. Also, M3 has hardware ray tracing accelerator and can also decode AV1 content. If we want to compare with Windows, the variety of hardware in this range is very large, and definitely there are better hardware than this. But their performance drops a lot when they are not connected to the adapter. This problem doesn't exist in new MacBooks. But how about in reality? In fact, the performance of M3 is good in daily use. It performs semi-heavy edits and even light 3D designs well, and there is no significant performance drop. In heavy use, you will feel the sound of the fan, but it is not annoying at all. But if gaming is one of your priorities, this laptop will not be your first choice. Good games have been released for it, and by the way, it has good performance. But at this price, there are better laptops for gaming, both in terms of hardware and in terms of number of games. But in general, the MacBook will entertain you. macOS also has problems in terms of engineering software. It is better to do a research about the compatibility of the software you're using. But is it worth buying? And how difficult it is to answer this question. The base model has only 8GB of RAM, and its price is $1,600. And its 8GB is not like iPhone, which is like 12GB of Android. But it is even weaker, because as I said, there is no separate memory for GPU in ARM architecture. In case of lack of RAM, macOS uses SSD by default, which is felt and reduces the life of SSD too. The lack of RAM is felt even in rendering and hardware functions. You might say that it is responsive in daily use. But in daily use, RAM is more important than hardware, and $1,600 is a bit much for this type of use. In my opinion, if you want to buy a MacBook, there are three options. First, spend a few $100s less and buy the 16GB RAM MacBook Air M2, which is generally on the lower end. Spend $200 more and buy 16GB version, or spend $400 more and buy M3 Pro, or even M3 with more SSD. You can even think about M2 Pro. That's your choice. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in next video.